Hi everyone, welcome to the Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword video walkthrough. Today we will be covering the Faron Woods section of the game. So there will not be any dungeon in this chapter. However, I will be going through the entire Faron Woods and it will be in one video. I think I'm going to keep that format for the rest of the walkthrough. Every chapter will be one video. They'll be long, but the parts of the game that I'm breaking them up are so dense that it's easy. If you're stuck on one thing, you can quickly find it in the video just by scrolling through. And there are multiple places. They're basically dungeons before a dungeon, and so that's why I'm keeping them together. Anyways, we land here in a place called the Sealed Grounds, and everything's pretty mysterious. We don't know what's going on. So after Fi's done talking to you, you can turn around and you'll see there's a bird statue there, but there's nothing we can do with that for right now. So just ignore it and then head along the path. There's some new enemies here. These are Boku Babas or Deku Babas, sorry. And there's a couple ways you can defeat them. So you either have to slice the direction of their mouth, either horizontally or vertically, or you can alternatively wait for them to attack you and use your shield bash as they're attacking you to defeat them. So Fi tells you that she will tell you about an enemy, but as you come down here, there is a cutscene. Okay, so there's some weird thing down there, so we better go ahead and check that out. If you watched the cutscene, you noticed there was some monster thing. If you didn't watch the cutscene, I assume you already know what's down there. Or you've seen it before. Or you're just not interested in the story. That's fine. So basically, you have to jump down here and send a Skyward strike at the little pin sticking out. So go ahead and do that. There's this weird dialogue that tells you to do this. I don't know who's speaking here. I would assume the goddess, but I actually have no clue who's speaking there, so. Anyways, once you do that, you've sealed whatever monster's down there. That's why it's called the Sealed Grounds, and then these little geysers will start spewing up. So you can actually run over them, and using your sailcloth, you will hop up to the next platform. So it's a quick way to get back up to the top, and we'll use this later on in the game, because we'll be coming back here a couple times, more than a couple times. This is actually a pretty important part, or place in this game, so remember it for later if I ever say go to the Sealed Grounds, although I'll probably have it on screen that I'm going to the Sealed Grounds, so you don't have to really worry about it. Anyways, now Fi tells you about your dousing ability. Basically, this is how you know, this is how the game tells you where to go. You're watching a walkthrough. I won't be using this ability very much because I already know pretty much where to go for everything. There are some cases where I don't, and I'll use the dousing or to stay on track or something like that. You can douse for other things later in the game, like hearts or different side quest related items. And yeah, but basically what you do is you push the C button on the nunchuck, and you will point your sword out. And right now we're dousing for Zelda, so early on in the game you'll be able to douse for story-related quests, and obviously we need to go through this door. We couldn't go through this door before because it was blocked. So now the little, it looks like a Sheikah from Ocarina of Time, a Sheikah Eye, if you know what that is. But that goes away. So in here is the sealed temple. So you can head over to the bird statue on the left and save if you want, and then you can head over to the and then you can head straight up for a cutscene. Okay, so we met this old lady in that cutscene, and she taught us how to use the beacon ability. So now we can set points around our map where we can see beacons from far away. It's a nice way of navigating. It basically replaces the minimap system, which I actually wish they had. That's one thing I think would have made this game better, is have a minimap instead of doing the beacons, because the beacons are just, I don't know, they're annoying to go into your map and use, and that is one thing I think is perfectly legitimate to complain about in the game, is the lack of a minimap in the corner of your screen. But nonetheless, luckily you're using a walkthrough, and I've been to most of these areas plenty of times, so I know them pretty well. So head out the side door of the sealed temple, and then keep heading out. There are some birds here, but we'll be able to do stuff with them later. But for right now, just keep heading forward. There's a new enemy here. These are bokoblins, and a good way to try and deal with them is using Skyward strikes. You can hit multiple enemies at a time. Otherwise, use spin attacks by moving both the nunchuck and the Wiimote around. Otherwise, these guys will try and block your attacks. So what you can do is attack from one side really fast. They'll probably block that, and then attack from the other side. If they ever drop these ornamental skulls, pick them up, because we'll be needing them to upgrade our equipment. So yeah, definitely do that. So yeah, I would recommend spin attacks. Alternatively, I just showed you can use your shield to, if you bash as they're attacking, they'll be stunned, and you can do that too. Later on in the game, that's actually a really good way to deal with some of the later bokoblins. So I will be showing that off when we get to it. Otherwise, there's this Goron here, and if you know other Legend of Zelda games, you know Gorons. So yeah, they return in this game, and this is Gorgo the Goron. We'll be seeing him quite a bit throughout the game. He kind of explains things for us, explains different mechanics of the game. So that's pretty nice. By the way, for the ornamental skulls, you do want to collect a lot of them, because we'll need 12 throughout the game to upgrade all of our equipment, which I will be doing in this walkthrough. So, anyways, Gorko is now explaining the bird statues, and the reason I'm not cutting this cutscene, or why I'm not adding a skip option and why I'm narrating over it, is because the bird statues are actually kind of important. So there's no warp system in this game, really. Although, there is, so if you want to go to one part of the map and then another, you can always use a bird statue to go back up to the sky and then drop right back down, and then you can fall on another bird statue. But you have to keep in mind that you have to activate the bird statue, which means you have to go up and look at it, examine it, before you can use it to drop down to. It's kind of a weird mechanic, and it'll make more sense when I use this later on in the game. But for right now, just take my word for it that you definitely want to activate all of these bird statues as you come across, and I will be showing you where they all are in the walkthrough, so don't worry about that. I will be activating them, so just if you're following the walkthrough, go ahead and follow my steps to activate the bird statue. So if you head, Link will head up to this bird statue and it will activate. They don't all activate like this, which is one of the weird things, is that you might not realize that you haven't activated a statue, because they all look like it does now in the video. But you still have to go up and examine them. So, like I'm doing here, you have to go up and examine. This one's called Behind the Temple. So now we can automatically drop down. So now let's head on to Farron Woods. But first, head up the vines that you see, and head through the little tunnel there. This will take you to the other, the entrance point of the sealed grounds, and push a log here. This creates a shortcut that we can just easily get back and forth between behind the temple and in front of the temple. Then head back the way you came. There'll be a lot of these shortcuts because the areas are pretty linear in the game, for the most part, at least at the beginning. They're very dense, but they're pretty linear. There'll be a lot of these shortcut mechanics. So then head through the gate past Gorko and push the log forward and then run up it and run up the cliff and head into Faron Woods. So in here, Fi will come and bug you again, and she tells you that we've entered Faron Woods, and she'll give you an overview of the area. So there's a big tree in the center. This is not the Deku tree, unfortunately. It's not alive, but it's a pretty big area, and if this is your first time playing, you'll probably get lost. I know I did quite a bit. So keep that in mind. Follow the walkthrough as closely as you can. I tried to stop and show you where I was on the map every once in a while, just because there's no mini-map to kind of guide you around. And like I said, I think the mini-map was a brilliant idea in Ocarina of Time and, you know, Majora's Mask, the 3D games, in general, Twilight Princess. Because on the overworld, it helps you get a sense of where everything is on the overworld, whereas in this game it's cool because you have to explore to find things, but at the same time it's I don't know, it's harder to know your way around. Anyways, walk up to this bird statue and examine it. You don't have to save to activate it, but then keep heading through the path. You see there's a bug here. There's nothing we can really do with it right now, so just ignore it. I will cover bugs later, and where to find them. So bugs, basically, I think I said this in the last chapter, but you use them to upgrade potions. Slash through the trees here and head forward. There are two bokoblins terrorizing this small creature on the ground that looks like a blade of grass. So take them out using any means you like. I usually just slash away at them. Notice that if you knock them back, then you can use a finishing blow, which is something from Twilight Princess. If you push down, if you like move your hands down, both of them at the same time, and an enemy's on their back, you will do a finishing blow. I show this off later in the chapter. I just didn't have a chance to show it off earlier. So then this creature will get up and talk to you. He's a very fearful creature. He's called a Kikwi. Fi will... I spoiled it before Fi told us, but yeah, he's a Kikwi, and for some reason he has Zelda's aura on him, so yeah. So for some reason when we douse for Zelda, we come up with the Kikwi. So that's kind of weird, but we don't really have any knowledge of where Zelda is now, so we might as well follow this creature, huh? So just head straight. Up here's a little sandy incline, so you have to dash up it. But dash up it, and keep heading along the path. You can jump down here, and you'll see the Kikwi. He'll see you, and he'll run off. So he'll hide behind the glittering mushroom. So first off, jump down and head to your right. There's another bird statue here, so go ahead and activate it. And then head to the glittering mushroom and just slash it with your sword, and the Kikwi will run off. These glittering mushrooms, if you pull out a bottle, an empty bottle, and use it, you can actually get some glittering spores, which do some pretty neat things. You can put them on rupees to change them to a different rupee, or you can put the glittering spores on a heart to turn it into a fairy. I don't demonstrate this now. I might demonstrate it later. We'll see. I've never used the mechanic. It was something that I actually learned through research. So, but anyways, the Kikwi will head to the other glittering mushroom So go ahead and slash that, and then he'll hide at the far end of this area. And he'll have the little bubble above his head, so you know we need to talk to him. So go ahead and talk to him, and he will be afraid of you until you finally tell him you're not going to eat him. So he will tell you that he's Maki, or Machi. I'm going to call him Maki. I probably won't call him by name that often, but yeah, so they're Kikwis, and there are other ones, spoilers. He's not the only Kikwi, he just told us there's a Kikwi Elder, so we gotta find the Kikwi Elder. Basically we're gonna find him, or Fi is going to let us find him using the same dowsing ability because Zelda's aura has rubbed off on him as well. That doesn't sound quite right, but yeah. So, if we continue to douse for Zelda, you'll notice that we have to turn around. So, this is the first part of this area where people can get turned around. Actually, right by this Kikwi is not where we want to go. So, if you turn around by this Kikwi, there's a log there. You can also roll into this tree for 20 rupees. So push the log down, but this is actually a shortcut to the beginning area. And there's a new treasure. This is an amber relic. So the amber relics are the most common treasure in the game, and we need $20 of them in order to upgrade everything. But once you've grabbed the amber relic, go ahead and turn around, and we want to go up. I was trying to demonstrate the glittering spores, but once you hit them once, they lose their glittering, so it's alright. I told you how they work, so head up to the sandy area with the Deku Baba on it. Once you get to the top, you can pick up one of the rocks and throw it down to defeat the Deku Baba if you really care about it. It's not a big deal because it can't hit you from there. Then, so continue on this path, you'll find that there's another amber relic, so keep going. And there's nothing really outside of the area to deal with. There's a Bokoblin here, deal with him. And then there's a new enemy in Octorok. So these guys you can defeat by bashing your shield as their rock is about to hit you. So you notice there's a lake there that I passed up. Actually, you want to head up and into that lake because there is a amber relic in there that you can pick up. So I screwed up there. I go back and get it in just a second, but definitely go into that little lake and pick up the amber relic. Once you've done that, head up this path here. And defeat any Deku Babas and Octoroks in your way. You can also just avoid them, they're not that important. So you'll notice here that there is a rope attached to the little blade of grass, so cut that off and then you can jump across the rope and talk to the Kikwi Elder. So yeah, like I said, I missed that amber relic before, so then I noticed it and went ahead and grabbed it. And also make sure you're pushing the logs to create shortcuts as you go. You can also roll into some of these trees to get extra rupees and extra goodies. I don't for the sake of time, but if there's ever anything good in a tree, I'll show you. Otherwise, it's usually like 5 rupees. Maybe I missed a 20 rupee here or there. But here's the Kikwi Elder. His name is Buka. Or Bucha. I'm going to call him Buka. Or the Kikwi Elder, mostly. and you have a dialogue with him here. I'm not really going to count this as a cutscene, but he will tell you that there are 3 more Kikwis that he is worried about in the forest, and he wants us to go and make sure they're okay. So we gotta find the 3 Kikwis. Not too much of a daunting task, unless you consider that this is a pretty big area, and we're not very comfortable with the area. But never fear, you're watching a walkthrough. I will lead you to the right path. Alternatively, you can just use dowsing to find them, but you might as well stick around and watch. So Fi will add Kikwis as a dowsing option. So in order to change your dowsing ability, to change the option that you're dowsing for, you need to hold down C. So if you just press C, you'll enter the dowsing mode. If you hold down C, there will be the circle where you can choose what you want to douse for, just as I do there in the video. So there's this tree stump with a hole here. Head through the hole just by running straight at it. And one nice thing to note is that there's always a fairy in here. Every time you come back to the area, there will always be a fairy in this area. So if you're looking for a fairy specifically, there's one here. You can keep it in a bottle, and it will heal you instantly. Now, once you climb up, there is a tightrope here that you want to walk across. As you get close to the little spiky things, these are called mews, they will attach to you and blow you up and hit you off. We don't want that to happen, so use the Wiimote to balance and jostle when you get close to them, and then head up. Here now is a bokoblin tormenting a poor Kikwi. This bokoblin has a horn that he will call for help. So you might want to defeat him first, but it's not a huge deal. Then you can take out the bokoblins, the rest of the bokoblins that are left. Once you've done that, the Kikwi will answer you, but he can't get down from the tree. So Fi will tell you, use one of your mobility options or something like that, your actions, to get him down from the tree. This is pretty classic Zelda, just roll into the tree. Remember, to roll you have to hold A and run and then shake the nunchuck. Once you roll into a tree, it will unfurl a little vine that we can swing on, and we will meet a new Kikwi. This Kikwi is Lapsa, but like I said, I'm just going to call them Kikwis pretty much. I'm not going to remember their names. So then head over to the vine that unfurled when you saved Lapsa and use your Wiimote to swing on this vine. Only use it to swing when you're at peak areas. So I know some people have problems swinging on the vine. You have to swing when you're at like a peak because of physics, which is actually true. So head through here, there's a new enemy called Gways. They will drop eggs or poop on you or something like that, and it will sting. Basically just do a sword spin to get rid of it. Then as you come across here, head up the little trunk, tree trunk I guess, and climb up the vines, leaping where you have to. Then drop down and slash all of this grass here will reveal a Kikwi. So one way to expedite the process would be to use a Skyward Strike, because you can cut most of the grass. Otherwise, spin attacks works well as well. Then go ahead and talk to the Kikwi, and you discover the second one. One more to go. This is Area, another Kikwi. So there's still one more Kikwi to find. Luckily, all we really do is go in a big circle. So hop down off here. You can defeat the bokoblins if you want. And then head to your right, and there's a little hole you can crawl under, so do just that. In these areas, you might want to defeat the enemies just to gain some experience, because it's kind of, I don't know, it's good to defeat enemies, not like you don't get experience points, but just working with the controls a little bit, because they are different from other Zelda games. So you'll get more practice with the controls. In here, there are Octoroks. You can take them out using the means we did earlier. And then on your right, you want to hop down and push this log down for another shortcut to the beginning of the area. So these shortcuts will serve a better purpose later. Spoilers, we will be coming back to this area. So that's not a huge spoiler. I think you guys probably realize that. So then head up and you'll see this archway. Head up the little trunk or mound or hill or whatever you want to call it. And when you're at the top, head left. You'll see that there's a piece of heart sitting there. So head across the tightrope and grab this piece of heart for piece of heart number 2. So once you grab the piece of heart, head back across the tightrope and onto the mound or tree trunk. This time, once you get to the intersection, head just straight. Defeat the Deku Baba. And over here, there is an Octorok. So you can roll into this tree for some goodies. And then once you're done, hop down into the hole there. Then down here, head through the tunnel. And you'll notice that there is another Kikwi here. So you have to try and pick up the Kikwi before you activate it. But this is the last one, so... And now we can head back to the Elder and see what he's going to give us for finding all the Kikwis. Basically seeing that they're safe. Yeah, we didn't really find them. We just noticed that they were safe. That's great. So to get back to the Kikwi Elder, hop off here and you'll notice we're back in the area with Maki. Yeah, I remembered his name. Maki, the first Kikwi. So head back to the area with the Deku Baba that we defeated earlier with the large rock. And then keep heading on this path up the hill and jump across the vine there. So once you get back to the Kikwi Elder, he will have a little thought bubble above his head, so we know that we have to talk to him. And he will say you have a real talent for finding whatever is missing. Unfortunately, we can't find Zelda, so I don't know how true that is, but it's a nice gesture. Anyways, he will give you the first item of the game, the slingshot. Yeah, I spoiled it, I know. To get it, so he'll basically fall over and then it'll come out of his back. It's kind of weird. He'll tell you that Zelda went off to the deep woods, so that's where we have to go. If you noticed when we were walking around, you saw this big statue area. We couldn't really do anything over there before, but now that we have the slingshot, we can. Apparently this is the most precious Kikwi heirloom, but none of the other Kikwis have it, so I don't know. It's weird that he just give it to us, but whatever. So run up on his back and pick it up for, I already said it, the slingshot. So the slingshot in this game won't really kill any enemies. It'll stun them. It might kill minor enemies like keys and such, but since you don't really target them in this game, you have to use the motion controls. It's probably easier to actually use your sword or another item we'll get later in the game. So just like the rest of the Zelda games, we have ammo for our slingshot, and in this game we press B to use items, and then A to shoot, not B again. You press B, you'll put it back away. So remember that. When we get more items later, you hold down B to change. So you can use it to do what I did in the video, unfurl the vine, and then head north from there. And you'll see we're back to where the Gways were and where that large rune or statue or whatever that is. I guess it's called the viewing platform. So head up the steps, you don't really have to worry about the bokoblins, and then head, once you get to the top, make sure you head back and activate this bird statue, because we'll be coming back here. This is a really nice place to grind for a particular treasure, and so we'll probably be wanting to come back here, or come here often. However, we don't have the means of getting this treasure yet, so keep that in mind, and then use your slingshot to unfurl the vine again. Then go ahead and climb up on the vine and head forward into the next area, the deep woods. So we are almost to the temple. And also, that guy wasn't on the viewing platform and we were just there, so yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know who that is. Actually, I do, but for now, we don't know who that is. So just keep going as if everything's normal. Yay, dramatic irony. So the deep woods is actually a pretty short area, but there's some neat things here. This opening area is the best place to grind for the treasure bird feathers. I'm not going to talk much about them right now. You can see there's some birds there, but we can't do anything with them anyway, so don't worry about it. There's another bokoblin leader up here who will call his friends, so defeat him quickly and then defeat his friends. You'll notice there's a hornet hive over there, and if you use the slingshot to knock down their nest, they will come after you, so I would recommend against doing that, at least for right now. There I demonstrated the final strike, or final blow, on that bokoblin, so that's how that works. And then I got a new item, the Deku Seeds. So these aren't really an item, they're just ammo for you, and you'll find them in various places. So once you get to this tightrope place, you'll actually want to, so I'm demonstrating using the slingshot on the hornet's nest there. And you'll actually want to, because if you try to cross here, the hornets will just get in your way. Also, there's a bokoblin on here that might possibly try and get on the tightrope with you. He won't attack you while he's on the tightrope, at least unless he's really close to you, so just jostle his way off and he'll fall off. It's kind of sad, actually, but whatever. Then hop up the little ledges across and head all the way down this path and push the log there for a shortcut around this area. So we won't have to go past that tightrope again, ever again. So then continue heading forward down the path and you'll see that Gorko somehow made it ahead of us. I have no idea how he got this far, but whatever. He'll tell you to come close to him, so we'll have to find a way up there. Defeat the Octoroks in your way, and then head around, dash up onto the ledge, and use your great parkour abilities to get across the ledge. Now here's another tightrope segment. This one, the bokoblins are... there is a bokoblin ready for you, and there's also some mews. So you can jostle the mews off as well as the bokoblin. You have to be kind of close to jostle them off, so just keep that in mind. You won't be able to jostle them off when you're halfway across the tightrope from them. You'll have to be kind of close to them. Also, don't worry if you lose your balance, you will be able to get back up on the tightrope. You won't be able to get back if one of the mews sticks on you. So that's what the mews do. You can see they explode there. And then there's another bird statue here, so go ahead and activate it. It's the Deep Woods bird statue. We probably won't be using this one that much, but if you ever feel like coming back to this part of the Deep Woods, it's there. So here's another rope that we can swing across, so go ahead and do that. And now we can get back to talking to Gorko, but before we do that, there's a new enemy here. These are... I forget their name, but they're basically Dekubabas with the ability to move their mouth in both directions. And they can drop jelly blobs, which is nice. Regular Dekubabas can drop them too, but they're pretty rare. Head up the ledge and open the chest up here for 20 rupees. Then you can head back down to where Gorko is, so he'll tell you about these cubes here, which are kind of weird, but I'm just going to go ahead and do what you're supposed to do, is send a Skyward Strike at them. So what this will do is, they're kind of like treasure charts in the Wind Waker. When you send you'll find them on the surface. When you send a Skyward Strike at them, they will activate a treasure chest that is up in the sky. And we'll be able to see where they are when we go back up to the sky. And I'll be showing that off in this chapter, so never fear if you're a little confused about how this works. So this is Goddess Cube number 1. And if you're watching this far into the future, I will have a Goddess Cube guide with all the treasures and all the Goddess Cubes in it. So if you are just here looking for Goddess Cubes, you can check out my channel, it should be up there. So yeah, go ahead and do that. There's another Goddess Cube right down here, Goddess Cube number 2, so 2 right in a row. It's pretty nice. So these are always exciting to find because it means there's more treasure for you to find. So anyways, we made it to the temple up here. And so you might think this is the end of the chapter, but if you want to go to the temple, go ahead and activate the bird statue. You might want to save. You don't really have to. You can save as soon as you get in the temple. But then use your slingshot to hit the... There's a switch right above the door. So use your slingshot to hit that, and then you can head into the temple. But we're going to do some preparation. We're going to pick up those Goddess Cube treasures up in the sky, and we'll upgrade our shield once. So if you're uninterested in this stuff and you want to just want to go head first into the temple, do what I did. I will show off getting into the temple later in the video, so if you're still confused about how to get in there, you can go forward in the video a little bit and skip this stuff, but I am going to the sky now. So remember, from any of these bird statues you can go straight to the sky, and whenever I come back I'll be able to drop down onto any of these bird statues, so you'll see this a little bit later. So once you come up after hitting a Goddess Cube, Fi will tell you that we can now look at where the Goddess Cubes are on our map. So we have 2 of them. I'm going to get number 2 first, because I think it's a better route. It's a faster route. So number 2 is the one directly south of us. I'll be going onto, for each of these, I'll be going onto the map and putting beacons for us, so that you can clearly see where they are. So this first one's on a plain old island, or Skyland. Ooh, Skyland, I like that. Plain old Skyland. And it's just kind of sitting out in the middle there. So go ahead and use your sailcloth and jump off your bird and open up the treasure chest for Piece of Heart number 3. So remember, this is from Goddess Cube number 2, not the one that was next to Gorko. Although I don't think it matters too much because they're very close together. So we only need 1 more piece of heart to get a new heart container. So this other one is a place we've been before, the Pumpkin Landing. So if you haven't gotten piece of heart number 1 yet, go ahead and grab that while you're here. But I'm just going to go ahead and grab the treasure chest that is associated with the Goddess Cube. And this is Goddess Cube number 1. So while you're flying, you might see these tornadoes. Don't worry too much about them. The tornadoes, if you do get caught in one, they just kind of knock you off your bird, and then you press down again to go back on your bird, so it's not a big deal if you get caught in one. So head around on the outside of the pumpkin soup bar, the lumpy pumpkin, and open the chest for another adventure pouch. So remember, I said in the last chapter that we'll actually be getting more segments for our adventure pouch, and now we do. So we can hold an additional item in there, although there's not much in the game that we might want to hold at this point. So you can always buy an extra shield if you want to, but it's not necessary. So now I'm heading to Skyloft, to the bazaar there. And I'm only going to purchase one thing because there's only one thing I can get, but it is the shield upgrade. So for the first shield upgrade you need 1 monster claw, 1 jelly blob, and I believe 2 amber relics. So we have those 2 amber relics because we've been picking them up all over Farron Woods. And if you recall, the jelly blobs you can get from Choo Choo's and Deku Babas, and the monster claws you can get from Keese. So if you don't have the monster claw or the jelly blobs, you can go to the cave that's on Skyloft and just exit and re-enter and try to grind them from Keese and Choo Choo's. But first things first, you may have noticed that there's this flying ship here. this is Beetle's airship shop. If you remember Beetle from the last game I did, Wind Waker, he sells things. In this game he's a little bit more rude, I think. If you don't buy anything, he'll kick you out of his airship. But there are two things we want to buy here that we can afford. The other things are very expensive, so we'll have to wait. One is a heart medallion. The other, the things that we can't afford are the heart medallion and the adventure pouch. But the things that we can afford is the bug net and the extra wallet. So the bug net we can use to catch bugs and other things. So I'll be showing those off. Now I'll be able to catch all the bugs and show you where you can find those. Then head over to the next item. This is the extra wallet. It will increase the maximum amount of rubies you can hold by 300. So there are, I think, 3 extra wallets you can get in the game, so that's a total of 900 more. And then later in the game we'll also be able to upgrade our base wallet. So in the end of the game, by the end of the game, we'll be able to hold like 9,900 rupees, I think is the max we'll be able to hold by the end of the game. But for now, we can just hold 600 now, because, or maybe it's 800. I don't remember what our base wallet can hold from the beginning. Anyways, there's a bug I want to show off here. This is the most common one that you'll see in all the areas. These are called blessed butterflies. Not much to say about them now, other than you can use some of them to upgrade some potions, but you need other bugs in combination with them. You can also sell them at night, and I'll get into that later because I don't think the mechanic has happened yet. Like, we can't go to nighttime yet. So, although I suppose you could. Anyways, if you head into the bazaar, the shop owner here will have a thought bubble above his head. He's just telling you that he has a new item, which is a small seed satchel. Although he's charging a ridiculous 100 rupees for it, so I don't think it's worth it. Especially because we're going to find one later. So don't worry about buying that. Instead, head to Gondo's scrap shop. You'll need what I said before, the 30 rupees, and then the treasure that I said before to upgrade your shield. We can upgrade, so he has other things to upgrade, like our slingshot or bug net, but we don't have the treasures available to upgrade these things, so just get the shield upgraded and that should be good. So this is the banded shield. When it says it's more durable, it just means that it can take more of a beating before it breaks. And if you've been noticing that the shield hasn't been breaking at all, like the meter hasn't been going down, that's because I've only been using it with timed hits. So if you use it with a timed shield bash, it won't actually degrade at all. So that's actually really nice. It's something to keep in mind. If you use your shield just to block things, yeah, it'll start to get broken. But if you use it in a timed fashion, like say you use it to send a Octorok seed back at it, then it won't degrade at all. So anyways, that's all we can do on the surface here, or not on the surface, in the sky here. So let's head back down to Farah, and I'll show you that mechanic where it's basically the warping mechanic of the game. So go ahead and hop off the platform and head down to the green pillar of light. If you have any beacons on the sky, you may want to take them down because you won't be able to use them on the surface if you have them in the sky. But we can't use them in dungeons anyways, so it's not that big of a deal, since we'll be going to a dungeon next. So you'll see here, these are all of the bird statues that we have activated and that we can now just drop straight to. So, like I said, this is basically the warping mechanic of the game. There are 3 in Farron, 2 in the Deep Woods, and 2 in the Sealed Grounds. So keep that in mind and head to the Forest Temple one. Go ahead and drop down, and remember what I said to get into the dungeon? You just pull out your slingshot and use it on the switch that is above the door. So once you've done that, you can head into the dungeon, and that is the end of this chapter. So I will see you guys next time for Chapter 3, where we take on the first dungeon, Deepwood Shrine. See you guys then.